Once again, y'all suckered me in with the thought that this was going to be a really good horror movie. Close, but no cigar. Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss The Black Phone. Now, this is a 2022 horror movie and it stars Ethan Hawke. Now, before I get into why all the elements were there for this to maybe be a contender for a really good horror movie, but in the end, I felt like this was one of those horror movies that could have been released early January, February, where you know where horror movies go to die. I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things. You know, sometimes movies try to do too much, like, keep it simple. Don't throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. Like, it was just so much going on here and nothing at the same damn time. How do you even do that?
Go back.
Have hopefully subscribed to see more of me. Let's get into this movie. Now, this film was directed by Scott Derrickson, and it really gave me hope that we had someone within the horror community really at the helm of this film. Now, he is probably more known for directing Doctor Strange, but he has directed films like the two Sinister film, which also starred Ethan Hawke. We have, a Hellraiser film, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and then we also have this movie being brought to us by Blumhouse. Now, Blumhouse does miss, and I mean miss often, but once in a while, we get, Paranormal Activity, we get Insidious, Oculus, Creep, The Green Inferno. Sometimes they churn out gems. And looking at the trailer for this film, you couldn't tell me that this wasn't going to be one of them. Now, this movie did have a whole lot of things going for it, and we can just start off with the setting. This movie is not set in modern day, which I absolutely love and prefer as far as horror movies are concerned, because that leaves out having to explain why our characters aren't doing, the social media, the cell phone. We don't have to explain none of that. Yes, give us those old throwback 60s, 70s, 80s, ass 90s aesthetics. We love it. We need it. We are set in 1978, a time when people felt safe and children were very unassuming and trusting, and an old dirty van with tinted ass windows were considered fashionable. Amber Alerts and kids being on the back of milk cartons were not even a thing yet. So when we get into this perfect setting of the grabber and this mysterious man grabbing children, committing these murders, it's perfect. How did we mess that up? Now, we also have our main characters popping off here in the best way, especially as child actors. Now, both of these actors, Mason Thomas and Madeline McGraw, they do not have a whole lot of credits to their name, but after seeing them here and what they were able to convey, I'm really hoping to see these children again. We waste no time jumping right in, creating this unsettling, kidnapping-ass atmosphere, and we are introduced to Finney and his sister, Gwen. Our main character in focus here being Finney. Now, Finney is targeted in every sense of the word. He's used as target practice, and he's set up to just look like a target in the film. An easy mark. He has to constantly endure abuse, whether it's verbal or physical, courtesy of the school bullies, or at the hands of his very own alcoholic, abusive father. Now, of course, we do know that the abuse that is taking place with with Finney is to really give us some character building with him and for a payoff later. He is set up to look, weak. He's not strong. He doesn't have a lot of courage. He's not built to stand up for himself. He's used to hiding in the shadows. But we also see other characteristics like him having a crush, him being really shy, him being clever, and him being really smart, which also pays off later. So there is a reason for Finney to have all this abuse in the film. Now, do we just stop at Finney? Absolutely not. We see abuse courtesy of different boys fighting, trying to prove their adolescence and their strength. We have, a lot of bullying here, and clearly this writer and director went to the Stephen King school of bullies. They are just despicable. And then we also have abuse with Gwen, the sister, courtesy of the dad, and the abuse that he inflicts on her in the movie, or, even a later scene in the film. It is just constant. But I thought that the abuse here in this movie would serve a higher purpose than just giving our main character, Finney, some room to grow and find his inner strength and stick up for himself at the end of the film. I thought we were going to get all into, generational curses and, how abuse being inflicted on someone at a young age, like a Finney or a Glenn, could make you turn into some sadistic ass serial killer like the Grabber. We didn't go nowhere near that. We just was whooping ass in the movie, just to whoop ass. Now, speaking of Gwen, once we get into the sister, she was one of the better additions to the film. Not only was this little girl acting her butt off, but she had really great comedic timing, and you really loved all the moments that we got to spend with her. But this is also when we get into the film throwing in one too many things that just don't cohesively work. Not that she was one of those things, but Gwen has dreams about the murders, the Grabber. She is supernatural, really clairvoyant, and she uses this to speak up about details. She is very outspoken and she's really righteous. Even when it comes to their sad, sick-ass father who is trying to beat her ability out of her that she clearly inherited from her mother, who sadly took her own life. And here is this dad who's trying to beat it out of her. And it's not just that one really harsh beating that we see in that moment. You see that the kids are accustomed to walking on eggshells, dealing with his alcoholism, and you get the feeling that it's not just, this one time. They have been dealing with abuse on both parts from their father. We even have the goddamn police confiding in this young girl because she seems to know way too much about the case than she should. Now, the movie also has you as a viewer just kind of, for a brief second, become internally upset with Finney's character because of his inability to stick up for himself. Now, we do have, the story progress on with the Grabber mysteriously grabbing all of these boys around the neighborhood. We don't really see the Grabber. We don't see him until Finney is the one being kidnapped. But we have all of this happening. In that process, we meet, a really great friend, a confidant, somebody who is sticking up for him as far as bullies are concerned. We already seen him whoop some ass and him not be able to stick up for himself in that sense. Like, come on, dude, I need you to come on with the muscle. So by the time that we have Gwen get a really harsh ass whooping in the kitchen, whole ass abuse with the belt courtesy of her father and his drunken ass behavior, and we see what Gwen is taking on, and then we directly after that see Gwen take on more abuse, trying to stick up for her brother, and him not, be able to do anything. Like, he just doesn't have the passion to stick up for himself quite yet, or the confidence to do anything. And you see her get hit and knocked the fuck out. Like, I was so bothered. Once we have that sense of danger get closer and closer to home, and we've had multiple boys be kidnapped all the way down to Finney's friend, and that sense of danger is really present. We have this same thing take place with Finney, and we are finally, probably about 30 minutes in, introduced to Ethan Hawke. It was there. it was there. You can tell that Ethan Hawke really tried to do a whole lot with what he was given. It feels like the roles were reversed as far as Sinister. He is that ever-present sinister-ass piece of sadistic danger now. And you see that he really tried to disappear inside the role. He is almost unrecognizable, not just because of his demeanor, his body language, his tone of voice, and that he's giving off, but he also wears a mask and is kind of incognito for majority of the film. He has this painted on permanent smile and this voice that says, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna make you do anything you don't want to do. Trying to give off this illusion that this whole thing is a mistake. And once we get past Ethan Hawke's villain, that sinister energy that he's giving off, that presence, the essence, the visual aspect, and we really get into the character or the lack thereof, it is very empty and very just hollow. It did not offer up a lot, and I seriously found myself getting bored. It was like they threw out a lot of collective ideas to create this character and didn't really elaborate on it. First of all, he has this van and he's kidnapping. Is he just some rando, jumping out and kidnapping boys? No, he has on, this really faint white makeup. He has a top hat on and he's presenting himself as a musician to maybe lure in kids, but he's the creepiest fucking musician that you would ever want to see. Like, nothing about all these black balloons in his black van says, hey, come here. Like, it was very much kind of given, hey, want a balloon? There are quite a few Stephen King like references here in this movie as far as balloon, the stance that he takes in the movie. We get the yellow raincoat and the red boots. It's the rain. It's a couple of little things here. It didn't do nothing, but we have him kidnapping multiple boys of different, status, strength, height, weight, different points of their adolescence. Some of them are quite tough, really and then you have, someone like our Finney character who's quite shy and is presented as weak, but you have him, murder and capture these boys in the same way. We have to, they relied on this mask so goddamn much, and it didn't do all that much for me. So in the end, I was left with Finney being kidnapped, locked in the basement with a mattress and a black phone that rings nonstop until we eventually have dead boys, their spirit, their ghosts, answer the phone and give him instructions on survival. But us as an audience, we pretty much know in the end that these things probably didn't work, because if they did, these young men would still be alive. So it's like we're going through all of these different scenarios for a long time in the film, and we know that we're not going to get the result that we were expecting. The best thing that came out of Newspaper Boy and the combination lock and that tension of Ethan Hawke's character sitting in that chair and he's asleep, this is your moment to go and get out. So when we get the situation happening with the intensity and the combination locked, and is he or isn't he going to get away, it's kind of deaded really soon, because we see him wake up. We know, the whole scenario, how we didn't really expect him to make it all that far. It just seemed like eventually we were going to get into a higher purpose and tie in all of the abuse and haha, see what happens when you put your hands on your kids, you get crazies, or just something. But we never circled around to that. We never got any answers as to why he was this way. Just nothing. Now, if this was just, supposed to be sadistic, let's just leave it at that. But you guys focused in so much on the abuse as far as the young children were concerned and the boys, and, hey, this is what he does. He does these things in order. He's going to, taunt you a little bit, feed you, and then he needs you to come upstairs so he can inflict abuse on you with a belt. The same abuse that Finney's father was inflicting in his own home already. I thought we were going somewhere. We didn't get there. Then we have the presence of the brother character. We already have it set up, the whole sibling love set up with Gwen's character. She is downright worried about her brother, and she's doing her best to use her clairvoyant abilities to, gain clues, find her brother, figure out where he is so she can save him before it's too late and he winds up like the other boys. And then we get into the other sibling relationship as far as our whole sinister, sick-ass villain is concerned, his brother Max. I don't know what kind of payoff they thought it would be for him to, you know, be so invested in the murder, and, you know, 1 + 1 = 2, and the killer has to be somewhere in this neighborhood, and I've been following it. I'm really passionate about this case and helping you guys track down these boys. Meanwhile, it's his own actual brother killing these boys, kidnapping them literally in the room next to him in the same home. That was some of the dumbest shit ever. Like, when we literally have him towards the end of the film figure out, you know, oh God, is it this house? It's happening in this house. It has to be our house because the killer is making moves in this neighborhood. It has to been our house this whole time. Oh, let me open the door. Oh my God, it's a boy. Oh, you want to know how I found you? And he gets whacked in the fucking head and he's dead. Like, I was so freaking annoyed. They were leaning in too hard on him being kooky and, you know, oh, he's you know, he's a coke sniffer. Like, he just can't get this shit all the way up out of my face. There was no payoff there for that with me whatsoever. It was just stupid. Don't do that no more. Now, in the end, the movie did try to tie up loose ends and get us invested in the story via the boys who were already murdered, and us kind of getting into flashbacks to who they were before they were murdered, and them kind of taunting / giving advice, trying to save him, and appearing as, you know, bloody, decrepit ghost, and not remembering their names and kind of forgetting who they are since they're murders, but they are using the last bit of energy that they have to hopefully save someone so Finney doesn't wind up like they did. That didn't really do much of anything for me. The only thing that I actually liked was the creativity of him trying every individual strategy and it not working for him to save himself until he did it all collectively. You know, the friend in the end, you know, get the phone, jab, left hook, right. I was like, yeah, whatever. We have, you know, him use everything, you know, break, like, Lil Baby had a whole lot of energy. We was breaking through cement walls, digging holes, all this upper body strength. Such a strong young man. You know, they're taking all kind of liberties. But, you know, he's trying to use everything. It's just not working. He's just about to give up hope. And you have his friend come through and, hey, my nigga, don't give up, dog. We here, dog. I'm trying to save you, bro. We have him come in, you know, at the last minute, and he collectively uses everything to entrap him. That was, you know, creative. I did appreciate that, and, you know, he's supposed to like do the slow clap when he's, you know, finally gets him and kills him and utilizes everything in the basement and puts the phone up. It's like, yeah, nigga, now what? And, oh yeah, and you know, there's a steak because, you know, he made me break into the freezer. Let me throw the steak to the dog. You know. But I was more so disgusted at the fact that, you know, we have these idiotic policemen. Oh, well, we looked around the corner. We looked in the back. Guess there's nobody here. Let's go. And you're just like, nobody's going to check the basement? Nobody's going to. Like, you just, it was supposed to be building tension. Like, oh, my God, is he going to kill him? Are the other police going to not find him in time? What's going to happen? Like, it just, that didn't really do anything at all for me. Like, I was just like, open the fucking door. And then, you know, in the end, we get into the piece of resistance. Not only have we had Gwen, you know, with all her might, you know, try to figure things out, the dream, the address, and try to put 2 and 2 together. That just hot ass mess. It was too much going on and nothing was consistent, cohesive. Nothing was flowing. It was like multiple movies happening, honestly. We get into, you know, this is the day and he's gonna kill you, and of course he comes back and he's murdered. And then they try to, you know, hit us with the aha flip-flop moment of the reason that the brother didn't know what was going on, the reason that all this confusion may have been happening, and they couldn't really pinpoint the murders and what was taking place, or even her clairvoyant ass supernatural visions, is because he had 2 houses, and one was across the street where he buried the boys, and the other one was where he was holding them captive, torturing them and killing them in the basement. Voila. So Like, I just absolutely didn't care. The ending did not justify the means. And then we get into this leftover abusive father-ass character that they placed him here in the film. Why? For what? We have him, you know, just kind of beg for the forgiveness of the kids. We even have him kind of come around and actually kind of invest a little bit of belief in the daughter's gift enough to want to go look for the son. And we have him just break down and apologize to the kids. And there are no repercussions for anything. It's just, I'm sorry for being a drunk and beating the shit out of y'all. Hugs all around. In the end, this movie had the ingredients, but I feel like our villain, our killer, our mischievous ass character was quite underdeveloped, and they relied on the mask a little too much. I feel like the writing could have been a whole lot better, and I feel like we missed our opportunity to get a really good film. I feel like that being mixed with Claire, that being mixed with Gwen being clairvoyant, the abuse at the hands of the kids at school, the abuse at the hands of the father, you know, him finding his inner strength, it just did not end up being enough. And we as an audience was supposed to walk away, you know, with fire at the fact that all of this that took place just gave him some courage and some strength to be like, yeah, you know, call me Finn. Like he got some swag now. We were supposed to be walking away happy with that? No. Well, you guys, that was my review for The Black Phone. I hope you enjoyed it. Please drop down and tell me what you thought about this film. This film has been getting really rave reviews. People have been low-key having a good time. I wanted to have a good time, but I did not. I had, you know, I did not. Let me not try to put no sprinkles on it. I did not have a good time. I look forward to reading you guys' comments. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. I'll see you next time. Bye.